September 21st,
You need
2023.
to stick it to the mic, please.
30 is now called. It's now called to order. Roll call, please. Oh, wait until it gets back. While we're doing that, let me apologize for our lateness. We had a couple of issues that we were dealing with in committee and caused us to be a little late. Yes, sir, do that.
Commissioner Hopkins here. Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Jackson.
Present.
Commissioner Young. Here. Commissioner Burrell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones. Here. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Present.
Commissioner Blake.
Here.
Commissioner Atkins. Here. Commissioner Chavez. Here, sir. Commissioner Lazarus. Here. And Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
All right, for the record, that is 12 of 12 members present. That does constitute a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go forego the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. We had done it in committee earlier. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us then to visitors. I don't believe, I'm sorry.
Agenda.
I skipped. I'm not aware of any agenda additions unless you are today.
No, sir.
No? Then we'll move forward to citizens' comments, where citizens are asked to fill out a comment card located in the foyer and turn those in to the box to my left here. And this for any issue other than zoning. And those comments are limited to 3 minutes. We have received at least 2 requests for comment today.
Okay, we do have 2 citizens' comments. The first citizen up is Brandon Ariel?
Mine was for rezoning. I didn't know that.
Oh, rezoning. Okay. Ms. John Glover?
And mine was for a public hearing. So we had to complete that document to be able to speak to that public hearing item.
Okay, well, that's not until the end, yeah.
We can call her at the appropriate time then. So
Mr. Clerk?
at this point, I haven't received any other requests, so that would move us forward to visitors. I don't believe we have any scheduled visitors today, though there may be a few people who are here to speak on various subjects at another point in the agenda. But we didn't have any scheduled during the visitors section.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, I think we had someone from, I just got that call before the meeting earlier from Origin Bank.
Yes, I believe for instance, there is also, I believe some people here from, it looks like I see some people from IDB and then maybe some people to receive some special resolutions. Those people would be not scheduled as visitors, but scheduled during other sections of the agenda. That's kind of what.
And that's Origin too? They're not a visitor.
Origin would be, for instance, it would be very appropriate if during the commission's response for information requests from commissioners, if they would call Origin during that portion of the agenda would be.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
Where we were anticipating that would happen. Okay, that brings us then to adopting regular session minutes. In addition to your regular session minutes today, you do have your special minutes from the Tax Board of Review meeting, special meeting that you had on September 13th. So we would ask that you consider adopting both of that.
Sure, well, mine is- Okay, Mr. Clerk, my pad is not showing the motion. but
I made a motion.
I'd
like to speak on the motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Johnson.
I would like to englobe and adopt the regular session minutes and the special session minutes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts to englobe and adopt 7.1 and 7.2. We can vote. You say you want to speak. You say you want to speak on it.
And are we still, okay, that does carry with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 abstaining. I'm sorry, 1 absent. And then that brings us to special resolutions. We have a number of special resolutions today. The first item is actually the presentation of one special resolution that you've already adopted. So there's no actual action required as a vote, but it is on there to remind you that is scheduled for today. And then following that, you do have a number of other special resolutions for today.
Okay, the special resolution appears to be for Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Yes, we'll do the presentations, the first meeting in October. Dr. Giroudi couldn't be here today, so I was gonna move to englobo both of those special resolutions. And the sickle cell awareness, month presentation for that resolution will be on Saturday at the walkathon. So we can, adopt these today and then present the latter one on the first meeting in October, on that Monday. Thursday is a clinic day for him.
Perfect.
Okay, you mentioned in global,
8-1 and 8-9.
8-1 and 8-9,
I'm sorry, 8-6.
8-6. Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Gage Watts and seconded by Commissioner Johnson to englobo 8.1 and 8.6. We can vote.
Before we vote, Mr. President,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
also had additional comments in honor of Sickle Cell Awareness Month. On yesterday, I had an opportunity to speak to the students at Huntington High School about facts about sickle cell and share with them all of the information that is important for our communities to know about how you can prevent sickle cell disease, how you can help to fund research about sickle cell disease, and what else you can do to be a support to sickle cell disease patients. Those students were very attentive. They were engaged. They asked a lot of questions. I have been before a lot of audiences before, but to have children that in tune and to listen and want to know more about this disease that affects all of us, I was simply blessed just to be in their presence. They also presented me with this bracelet. I did learn that we had a warrior in the room that wants to remain anonymous, but she gave me this bracelet and it says that change begins with awareness. So I wore it today. I don't know how we can get some more so more people can have them. But sickle cell warriors are the strongest people that I know. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Chair. All right. Mr. Secretary, I'd like to be added to, as a co-sponsor to those because sickle cell is very near and dear to me. I've actually chaired the sickle cell softball tournament for over 25 years now. And my first awareness came in college when B.B. Bird Brain Davis, for those of you that know him, he was a DJ here, matter of fact, well known in the community. And his daughter Maxine had sickle cell that she died from, I believe at, well, I don't think she even made it to 30, but she was quite a warrior too. And just like Commissioner Gage Watts said, that those are some of the strongest people that you can work with because they deal with this issue every day, the pain and the crisis that they go through. You all don't even can't even imagine what they do, but they still go on from day to day and have decent lives. But we got a ways to go in order to try to cure it. But we need to work on it. That's it. Mr. Clerk, we can vote.
Okay, that should be registered now. It looks like and that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, where are we?
So that brings us, I'm sorry, to the second item. 8.2 is a special resolution for the Daughters of the American Revolution, celebrating Constitution Week.
Okay, motion.
I'll take one spot.
Yeah.
Commissioner Johnson's spot.
Yeah, I thought we was on the other one.
Working. Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Atkins and seconded by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Commissioner Atkins.
No comment. Thank you, sir. Oh, well, it's important that we recognize the importance of the United States of America. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Hopkins. Okay, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 7 in support, 4 in opposition. That brings us to the next item, which is 8.3, a special resolution recognizing National Association of Gospel Radio President Charles Johnson.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Gage Watts and seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Gage Watts.
I'll yield to Commissioner Johnson.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
This resolution is to honor a native of Shreveport, native of North Shreveport, resides in District 2, Charles Johnson. Charles has had a extraordinary life at a young age. He was SGA president at Southern University, Shreveport. And then he got the calling to go into preaching. He's been preaching the gospel. He got a job at the radio station. And next thing you know, he's not just CJ, the local person, he's CJ, the national person. So he's now the president of the Gospel Radio Association. And we just wanted to say thank you for being the person, having the personality that you have. And it's something that we should look forward to. We got a lot of national presidents in this city. And I think we don't take out the time to recognize all who they are. And I got another resolution next month that will bring another national president here. So just want to say thank you for being a resident of Caddo Parish and putting Shreveport and Caddo Parish on the limelight. And we'll come down to do the reading of the resolution.
Okay, Commissioner, not Commissioner, Pastor Johnson, we want to come up, please? Will you all stand?
We're reprinting it. Okay, I will read this into the record, and we are actually just reprinting this real quick for a presentation copy, and we'll have it right out. Thank you very much. It reads, this is a special resolution in recognition of Pastor C.J. Johnson, Charles Johnson, President of the National Association of Gospel Radio. And it reads, whereas it is with great pride and admiration that we, the members of the Caddo Parish Commission, celebrate the remarkable achievements and contributions of our distinguished community member, Pastor Charles C.J. Johnson. And whereas Pastor Charles C.J. Johnson has been selected and duly installed as the president of the National Association of Gospel Radio, a prestigious honor that reflects his dedication to the promotion and preservation of gospel music and the radio industry. And whereas the installation ceremony took place on September 1st, 2023 in New Orleans, it was a testament to Pastor Johnson's leadership qualities and his ability to inspire others within the field. And whereas Pastor Charles C.J. Johnson is a beloved host on KOKA, where he has shared his passions for gospel and his deep commitment to uplifting the spirits of our community through his radio broadcasts. And whereas Pastor Johnson's work extends beyond the airways with his role at Alpha Media, further expanding his influence and dedication to sharing the word of God throughout Caddo Parish and the surrounding communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission proudly recognizes and commends Pastor Charles C.J. Johnson for his outstanding achievement in being selected and installed as the president of the National Association of Gospel Radio. And be it further resolved that we express our heartfelt gratitude for his tireless effort in promoting gospel music and his commitment to making a positive impact on our community. And be it further resolved that a copy of this special resolution be presented to Pastor Charles C.J. Johnson as a token of our appreciation and respect for his significant contributions. And that is signed by members of the Caddo Parish Commission.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you. Well, greetings to you, commissioners. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for this humbling experience to receive recognition from this esteemed body. of commissioners and the work that you do in our community. I am so excited to work with the National Association of Gospel Radio. Just to tell you a little bit about the organization. The organization represent nearly 100 plus radio stations in the country. Collectively, we represent nearly 13 million listeners worldwide. We do have a convention that's coming up again next year in New Orleans. And I want to say thank you to all of the elected officials that I work with, because you all have taught me how to work with elected officials. Now I'm working with elected officials in New Orleans. Our convention is coming in 2025 in Memphis, and we're working with elected officials in Memphis. And we're going to continue to just work with elected officials to help bring this convention to these different cities. But I pray that at the end of my term, we can bring the convention to Shreveport, Louisiana, Caddo Parish. And there are things that our board look for in cities when we choose those cities to come to and bring all of the gospel artists across the country to it. I tell a lot of people a lot of time, there are 215 million people in the United States of America who listen to Christian and gospel music. Not only do they listen to Christian and gospel music, it is over $1 billion industry in the United States of America. There are people who work every day in record labels and different corporations to bring and service gospel music and Christian music out to people all over the world. Next month, we're having our board meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. Not sure if you all have ever heard of something called the Gospel Music Association, the Dove Awards. It's held in Nashville every year, and we're going out there to make relationships. So again, I'm excited about leading this organization, and I look forward to bringing it to our area to make an impact here. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Pastor CJ, President Johnson,
Thank you.
on your accomplishments. You and I go back. I'm not going to put an amount of years on it, but we go way back from our childhood, and so I definitely understand your story and where God has brought you to this point. Pastor CJ does a great job of, and I'm glad you mentioned bringing the convention to Caddo Parish, because that was something that I was going to hopefully ask you that we should be looking forward to, that the convention would come here, because I think a lot of people don't realize just how influential Shreveport and Caddo Parish has been to gospel music
That's right.
all over the world, and how many great artists have come out of this area, and how many we still have here that have yet to be exposed to the entire nation. So thank you, Commissioners Johnson, Storm and Gaze Watch, for bringing awareness to this, because we need to do a better job in Shreveport and Caddo in recognizing our own and giving others an opportunity here to get the exposure that they need, because this is a gold mine and gospel talent right here in our parish. And if you're not aware of it, you need to become more aware of the talent that's in this area. Pastor CJ does a great job with the radio station KOKA of helping getting the word out, helping local artists get their music out so that they can be heard. And he even helped me have a very, very brief radio career. You can reconsider that if you want to. But it was fun to be able to work in radio and just kind of see how all that works and what all goes into it. And so I just wanted to say congratulations to you. Please keep going. Please keep representing us well. And I look forward to the convention being here soon.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, Commissioner Jones. Okay, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pastor CJ, I just want to congratulate you on this prestigious award. I've enjoyed watching your progression since Commissioner Johnson introduced us probably 4 years ago.
Yes.
So I just wanted to congratulate you and say I've enjoyed watching you move through the process. But I will make the observation that in the 4 years or so that I've known you, this is the first time I've ever seen you not in a suit. Thursdays must be your day off.
Yeah, it is.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Gage Watts.
Pastor CJ, I get to tell you publicly today how proud I am of you. You know, God will always bless you publicly about the things that you do privately. You do so much for our communities. I mean, there's so many things that I could name that you do for women and for children alike. And that is our future. You know that women are, I always like to call us the best communicators that you'll ever meet, because we'll be able to carry out those tasks. We can talk about it, we can gossip about it, we can take it wherever it needs to go. And you highly support women, and I truly appreciate that. And for our youth, our future, the things that you're doing for them will never be forgotten. God has always a way of promoting those who have their hearts postured in the right position. And for this, I know I've seen it, and I am just exuberant about what you are doing across this nation. I know that we've heard the sentiments today of my colleagues to say this is really big, but I don't believe that they really know how big a deal this is all over the world to receive this, and at your age, because we are in a generation that don't often go to God first, but it's your first choice and not your last resort. And for that, I say continue the good fight, because the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to the one that endures to the end. God bless and keep you. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Commissioner Jackson. You were in the queue. You must have.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how I got in and I was outside.
You must have fallen asleep and pushed. the
So
button.
good. Well, but Pastor CJ, congratulations most definitely to you. And thank you for putting Shreveport, Caddo Parish on the map. Continue to represent and be a voice. John, you say you didn't see him in a suit, but the proper thing you're supposed to do was ask him where he got his suit from. And he would tell you on time fashion.
On time
Or who
fashion.
dressed you? That's what it is. Who dressed it? And but no, it's great to see Shreveport, Caddo Parish, a millennial on the national stage representing our area, and the work that you do in our community is definitely commendable. We want to make sure that we continue to encourage the work that you're doing and support you in the various different ways that you're out here serving the community. I think we were trying to encourage a partnership with our juvenile justice department, with our juvenile services, juvenile detention department over here. And so I think, working with women, children, and families, that link needs to be made because we have some very critical issues here in our community, and we have to be able to quantify some of the things that folks are doing. And it breaks my heart when I go to juvenile and you see young children in chains or in jumpsuits. It's because somewhere along the way, the parental involvement got lost or was not there, or just needs some support. And that's the gap that you're trying to fill. And so hopefully that relationship manifests into something if it had not already been started. And so I want to congratulate you and encourage you to keep up the good work. So appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And me also, CJ. Many of our personalities in the gospel arena are getting older. And I'm so proud that you're stepping up, because so many of our youngsters need to reconnect with God, because I think personally that a lot of the crime and the killing and all that is because they've gone away from them, not only the kids, the parents of the kids. So what you do is so valuable to humanity. And you keep up the good work, and looking forward to seeing you on TV.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a radio voice, though. I'm behind the microphone.
All right. All right. Thank you so
Thank you all.
much.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us now to 8.4. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we still need to actually cast the vote. Though
Okay.
obviously we all have a strong level of support for Pastor Johnson, and I just assumed we had already adopted that, but we actually have to do it formally.
Okay.
So,
Let's vote.
okay, and that does pass with 12 in support, none in opposition. It was a good risk to take. That brings us now to 8.4, a special resolution recognizing Brady Braid's 70th year of preaching the gospel.
All right. Motion. Yeah, motion by Commissioner Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Is he here to receive it today?
No, ma'am, I believe there's a ceremony in his honor in the next day or two. And I believe the idea was that it would be presented then.
And I think I was added as a co-sponsor. I didn't see my name listed there.
We can certainly make sure that you are before it's presented.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, also add my name to it too, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can vote? Oh, you woke up, huh? Okay.
I was
Commissioner
actually in there this
Jackson.
time. No, this proclamation was presented to Pastor Blade on Sunday with the list of proclamations, including one from President Joe Biden. And so we'll make sure that we get this to him. But that presentation took place on this past Sunday at his 70th anniversary, preaching anniversary. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, now we can vote.
And Commissioner Johnson, it looks like I need to, there we go. And that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. That brings us then to the final item, which is 8.5, a special resolution proclaiming September as the NICU Awareness Month.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Gage Watson, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Watts.
Yes, I asked to be added to this resolution.
You
also.
did, and I do not, I'm having trouble understanding why some of those changes aren't here, but we will make sure that it is done.
All right. Oh, let's vote. Jones. Okay, Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to bring awareness to this as a parent who's had to deal with their child being in NICU. Last year in August, I had my fourth son. He was born at 26 weeks after we were told that he would not survive. We were told he would have a 0% chance to live, and his mom had a 50% chance to live. And one of the nurses came in and she prayed with us. And we all just kind of spent some real time in prayer. And the next day, the doctors came in and said things have changed. We're going to deliver right now. And so my son, Mason Seven Jones, was born last year. And he spent the first several months of his life in NICU. The care and time and passion that goes into taking care of these children that have to be in NICU, I think goes unappreciated. I am just grateful for the staff at Christian Shumpert that prayed with us and stuck with us and made sure that we understood the entire process. And it was hard because with my other three sons, I was able to bring them home, had never had to deal with it, had never held a child so tiny before in my life. It was no bigger than my hand. And it was an eye-opening experience. And so I think we need to appreciate what these doctors and nurses do, and also be compassionate and prayerful for the parents that have to go through this process and, every day visit their children in the hospital that they much rather be holding in their arms. And so I just want to bring awareness to this, asking everyone at some point during this month, didn't really get time to ask everyone to wear the color green today. But at some point during this month, if you would wear the color green one day to show your support for NICU Awareness Month, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Commissioner Jones, we can vote.
And that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us now to communiques and committee reports, which of course, we start out with administration response to information requests from commissioners.
All right. Madam Administrator, you want to do that?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, commissioners.
Good afternoon.
We had a request to ask Dr. White to be at the meeting today to provide some information on COVID. Dr. White could not be here today. I've provided you all a written information that she provided. At the next opportunity she could come before y'all, she will try to do that. But she did provide a written update that is at your stations regarding COVID here in our community. Also, we had a request to provide additional explanation on the millage language that's on the ballot. We did email you all an additional explanation of why the language was formatted the way it was formatted. The primary purpose of that millage is criminal justice, and it allows the Caddo Parish Commission to take care of any costs related to criminal justice, including our probation service, including detention space. There is a need to fight crime in Caddo Parish, and that's the primary purpose. But as was explained on Monday by some of the commissioners, to fight crime, you also have to look at other activities that contribute to criminal activity. And that's why some of the other language, such as supporting mental health and workforce development, is there. We not only have to focus on when we make arrests and those types of things, we also have to look at what also prevents crime. And the committee, the Juvenile Justice Committee, studied that issue, and also there were recommendations from committee members, from community members, to look at other areas. So that's why that language is there. But the primary purpose is to increase our resources in criminal and juvenile justice system to address the increase in violent crime and further crime prevention. That is the primary purpose of that millage. And so just wanted to provide that explanation. Also, just wanted to let you all know, we get requests about where we are on things, but so we did want to let you know we are working on RFPs. We're working on the housing RFP, the opioid, as well as the traffic cams. We hope to get most of those out between October and November in order to address the issues that you all have brought forward to the administration. Also, you requested that we have a representative here today from Origin Bank. And so we have Ms. Kim Bailey, who is the Vice President of Origin, and she's gonna provide you all some information
Kim.
in regards to the CRA program.
Okay, if you would come up, please. I got a call from my good friend Larry Little.
Yes.
Just before the meeting, and said that he could not be here because of I think it's a health issue, and his mom also with his
I
mom
think he's
also,
moving his mom into a new nursing home.
right, and plus he had a doctor's appointment at the same time.
I gotta go
But
get my
anyway, he said
glasses.
you're very capable and told us to be nice.
Yes, Larry, I'm Kim Bailey. I'm right here at 308 Market Street. I've been the banking and relationship manager for Caddo Parish now the last few years. It's been a pleasure to serve the commission, getting to know the employees, help any way. I'm always a phone call, text, email away for anything that the commission needs. Larry did send his regrets. I'm not quite sure what you wanted, and this is more his wheelhouse, but I did make some notes that I wanted to share. He did offer to also come back to answer any further questions that the commission may have. But our HMDA originations, in our low to moderate income LMI tracks, Origin Bank had 21.9% of originations compared to 15.10% aggregate. The majority minority tracks, Origin had 25.17 of originations compared to 16.11 of aggregate. Our CRA donations for 2022 and 2023 included the Fuller Center, United Way, the ARC, Mudbug Madness, Goodwill, Go for Kids, Katie Build, Southwood High School, Dress for Success, Rescue Mission, Boys and Girls Club, Goodwill, Christian Service, Cherokee Park Elementary, the Food Bank, Green Oaks High School, Common Ground, North Highlands Elementary, Woodlawn High, Bank on Shreveport, Men of Courage, David Rains, Shreveport Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce, Safety Town, North Louisiana Growth and Development Foundation, Rise Shreveport, and Northwood High School. We also have a Welcome Home Lending Program. This is a fixed rate residential mortgage loan intended to assist households at or below 100% of the area median income. We'll do up to 100% of purchase price with a credit score of 620 or better, 90% of purchase price with a credit score of 600 or better. The bank provides up to $3,000 of closing cost assistance. No mortgage insurance is not required, and the pricing actually matches our private banking and doctor loan programs. So we're very active, proud of what we do in the community and how we serve our clients. Any questions?
Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kim, great to put
Pleasure
a
to see
face
you.
with the
Mhm.
with the name. Thank you all for what you're doing in the community. I know that Larry, and I just wanted to let y'all know that during the pandemic and when they rolled out the PPP and economic injury loan, there was a report that came out that said very small businesses were not able to get access to those resources. And maybe 2 weeks later, I had 2 missed calls from Larry. He had left me a message, and then I think he called me from the office, and he was sort of in a panic. And he was like, I want to know what I can do, whether it's $1,000, $1,500, whatever we can do from Origins to help get some of these businesses through the pipeline. He was like, even if I got to eat some cost up, we want to help. And I don't know any other institution that called to say, how can we help get small businesses funded during the pandemic and get them through the PPP and EIDL process. And so I think that's what I guess having that local relationship is about. And so because y'all eating, sitting, talking with the same businesses owners that were suffering. I think one of the other things that I saw was that y'all took the fees that you generated off the origination loans, the origination fees that or the closing fees, whichever one it was. You took that money and you shared it with the community, gave it back. That was something that you didn't always hear folks talking about. And so that's what I think we look for when we're looking for a banking relationship in our community. Because y'all could have the federal government paid those fees, gave y'all that money. Y'all could have took that and turned it into a profit, but y'all took it and put it back into the community. And I think that's commendable for y'all for doing that. I also commend y'all on what you're doing around the homeownership piece. You've participated in several homeownership pieces, and I've met I don't know if it's Michael, the guy that I met out of Ruston, had a chance to talk with him. And he came over and met with a couple of very small developers on the RRDP, rental restoration program. And that was a piece of dollars from the state that we want like our 5th iteration of this program because the money wouldn't move. And Larry sent the young man over. He sat through the whole presentation and was willing to provide support letters to get those applications through. And for the first time in maybe 12 years, that program is overprescribed in request. So having that relationship between the small developer and the bank made a difference because the banks weren't willing to lend. And those takeouts are very important to make the projects work. So I want to put it on the record to thank y'all and let Larry know if he's watching. And he called me as well, and I told him I'm good with it. I could have gotten it in an email, but the fact that y'all wanted to come put it on the record is good. And hopefully we'll continue to see that reinvestment come back into Caddo Parish. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, then. Yeah, tell Larry we'd like for him to come and
I will.
talk to us. And well, Origin is one of my banks, and I've never had to use it, but I do bank there.
Good.
So again, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Clerk?
Okay.
Are
That brings,
I guess
so we're
we have-
still under communiques.
Right. If you have any, Madam Administrator.
Note that we do have representatives from the IDB here. If the commissioners, I know you have an item on your agenda today, and I wanted to note that they are here if they had any comments or anything they wanted.
Okay. Do you want them to come before us or something?
Y'all want to have, I think they're just available if you have any questions on the items. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay, are there any questions to the IDB people or board? Who? Oh, Commissioner Johnson.
It's not about IDB. Mine is.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, this is a communique. This past summer we went through extreme temperatures, and what I found out this week is that SWEPCO now is going out and started doing disconnects on those overdue bills. I got a call yesterday. Young lady has been paying her rent, but the apartment she's staying in, the landlord, the management team have not been paying the utilities. And so SWEPCO went over and disconnected her electricity. This young lady is on oxygen and CPAP machine, and I've talked to a number of different agencies. She is on a voucher system, and right now there's nothing a whole bunch of agencies can do because the management team at the apartment complex has not done what they're supposed to do. And it's bad when you have renters doing what they need to do when they pay their rent, and that's all they supposed to pay is rent. And then the management team pays the mortgage that's on the buildings, plus they pay the utilities. And also that the water is also about to be cut off as well. We got to put something in place for this. I know the city has issued a citation to the management of the apartment complex, but this is unreal. I mean, that you have people who are doing the right thing, making sure that they're paying the bills, and yet and still the management company does not pay their responsibility that they're supposed to do to these utility companies. I did talk to somebody at SWEPCO, and right now it's to the point where they reached out to the organization. They didn't respond back until today. They did pay some of it, but that still didn't turn on the building that this young lady is in. So I would say that we need to be working on some kind of way to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. And not only just a slight citation, but there should be some criminal penalties to this. Because if a person depends upon an oxygen machine or some type of life depending, even insulin and refrigerator, that's basically trying to say that you're trying to do harm to that person, and they should be covered and not be sold out when they trying to do the right thing and make sure that they're doing the things that makes them survive. This has been on the news already, but I just want to reiterate this to this body that there's something that needs to be done, and I don't know what we can do because this is also is inside the city limits. I did talk to the housing authority. The voucher that the young lady had did not come through them, but went through Easter Seals. So with Easter Seals, they would have to do some type of either issue another voucher to another location to relocate her. But then what you run into is that person might not have the money to be able to relocate. So, Shreveport is flooded with these type of apartment complexes that are not maintained, that need to be maintained. And then once news get to them that they're not being maintained, they come back to the tenant and either want to kick them out or say that they hadn't done this or hadn't done that, and then raise the rent in which they can't pay. So that needs to be some type of protection to those individuals as well. So hopefully that this body could do something. If not, we need to make sure that legislators in Baton Rouge make sure that they can put something together to try to get this accomplished. And I know it's an uphill battle with those land management companies, but at the same time, we're elected to watch out for the individual, the constituents. That's all I have.
Well, well, let me say, Commissioner Johnson, that could be your first bill.
Could be.
Commissioner Jackson?
I was just gonna note if that person's on a project-based voucher, I'd be interested in knowing what the address is and where it's located, to look into see where that project-based voucher. I know Easter Seals may be the organization with the project-based voucher, but I think there are some other folks who can put pressure on the company to pay or cite them for not being in compliance. But this is my first time hearing about it. So, but if somebody would forward me the address and we can look into see what's going on there.
I can answer that for him. It's
Okay,
Oak
Commissioner
Meadows,
Johnson.
1901, Centenary Boulevard.
Gotcha. That's in my district.
Okay, yeah, that
Give me
sounds
the
like the
address
same
again.
complaint that, one of the complaints that I've gotten about this apartment complex with no air conditioning during this hot, time, and they're paying their rent. Matter of fact, he paid the rent for a year and still can't get it. Okay, anyone else? Mr. Clerk,
Okay, that brings us to President's report.
I have none.
Okay, then we move forward to public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases. We do have a few items today. I believe there's two under zoning and one under traditional ordinances for public hearings. The first item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6348 of 2023. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code by amending the zoning of property located at the northwest corner of Wells Island Road and Mallet Drive in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to I2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. This was postponed from your August 14th work session.
Okay, we're gonna do both and then open it, or?
Did you want me to read them both and you can open one public hearing to address both?
Yes.
The next item is a public hearing for ordinance 6354, and that is in relation to parish zoning case 23-25-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the east side of Devereaux Road, approximately 796 feet north of Pine Hill Road in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to RTH Townhouse Residential Zoning District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. That item is in District 2.
Okay, the floor is now open for public hearing on ordinance 6348 and 6354. Anyone who's here want to speak for or against can come at this point.
Hi, my name is Brandon Creel. I'm here to speak for the rezoning of 6348, I believe the number is, from R17 to I2. The building on the site is a well-maintained industrial building, about 9,500 square feet. Adjacent lies a rock yard to the south. The property has a history of industrial use dating back to the 1960s. It was used industrially by Grecian marble until around 2005. In 2010, my late grandfather, L.J. Ernest, purchased the property and completed extensive renovations in 2012. Subsequently, the property had been leased to various companies over the past decade. This past March, when he passed, the building was inherited by my mother, who I'm here representing. It is vital to recognize that the building has been predominantly served as a company storage facility and office space, which has aligned well with the industrial nature of the majority of neighboring properties. And our goal is to be able to operate this property in a way that is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. And I appreciate your time in hearing this. And I also have additional information if you'd like to see it.
Okay, the administrator's out. Henry, is there anything that, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jackson.
To come up real quick. I think we can ask them to come up during the public hearing.
Mr. Clark.
Okay. Okay. How you doing, Mr. Clark?
Doing great. How are you today, sir?
Great. We had a conversation about this and I had some initial reservations and we talked and we spoke about this being I-2. And we talked about what future land use was supposed to be and what the master plan and how are we following it and things of that nature. But you said that you were okay with this being I-2. So I wanted to be on the record as saying, I want to make sure that I'm following the guidance of the subject matter expert. So could you walk us through?
Would be more than happy to. This is a building that is an industrial building. The future land use map for this, which was developed during the Great Expectation 2030 development and the Unified Development Code. And we know that there were some errors and there were some misconceptions with the Unified Development Code. We concluded that, and your board, the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, we followed the future land use map, but that board has the discretion to look at the location, to look at what's around the location. If you look at a vicinity map, it shows that there's I-2 zoning and I-1 zoning, and there was extensive notification to the Cherokee Park neighborhood. We sent out, if you recall, we do in the parish 1,500 feet instead of the 500 feet we do in the city. And there were no concerns expressed by any of the residents of Cherokee Park. And we feel that this is an industrial building. It's surrounded by industrial uses. And we agree with the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. And I think I asked before, but Amazon, if you look at the map, I see Grimmett, then Market. Amazon is really like corporate right there, maybe a mile and a half from this site, and it's I-2 as well.
Yes.
So
You have a whole lot of I-2 there if you just look at it. I mean, it's not like you have a residential district and you're spot zoning and dropping an industrial use in the middle of residential uses. There's multiple industrial uses in that area along Wells Island Road and Grimmett Drive.
it's just one last time for me, no IMU.
The board recommended I-2 and we agree with the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay, all right. I thought I'd try one last time. Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Okay. That's it.
I don't believe there's anybody. If there's no one else to speak for or against, you may want to declare the hearing closed.
Want to close it. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to a public hearing on standard ordinances. We have one item today to be considered. There is a public hearing for ordinance 6345 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the oil and gas fund to provide air conditioning to Caddo citizens and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, I'll open the floor again for a public hearing on ordinance 6345. If there's anyone here to speak for or against, please come up.
John Glover, good evening. Reading this this language and then looking at the explanation or fact sheet, there's not anything here that tells me who will be the recipient of these dollars. I know that you all represent the parish, but then the parish is a large area. So who is it that will be receiving these air conditioners? I know $200,000. Air conditioners don't cost a lot of money, but there should be some criteria here that lets me know as a citizen how it is that one can be considered to receive this item. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else to speak for or against? If not, the public hearing is closed.
Okay, that brings us then to the consideration of zoning ordinances for final passage. The first item for your consideration is ordinance number 6348 of 2023. That is an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the northwest corner of Wells Island Road and Mallet Drive in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to I2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I usually don't get these in my district, but this is very rare. And so, I think y'all know my rule is if it's in your area, I usually just follow your lead. I had some reservations about it, but I talked with Mr. Clark, I talked to the business owner, and we went back and forth on this. And I'm okay. I'm taking the advice of our person who we have hired to be our planner, our land use. And I believe that's what we should do, is follow what the subject matter experts, the guidance that they give us. I think it's important that I put that on the record because, certain individuals before the meeting adjourns will send information out in my district and put misinformation out there and disinformation out there as if they don't have representation or adequate representation. And I find it offensive, but just know that we have looked at this issue. We see where there's I2, I1. I've pitched the idea of what can we do differently and alternatively. And Mr. Clark is very, very firm that he trusts this process and that we went through a very thorough vetting process because I'm for protecting the integrity of neighborhoods. But as it's been pointed out, even if you look at Amazon, it's already I2. If you look at what's right across the street from this, it's I2 and I1. And so this is not doing anything different than what's already there. And so I'm okay with this. And I look forward to seeing whatever y'all come up with the storage parking facility, whatever concept that y'all are doing. And glad to see you doing business in District 3. So thank you.
Okay. Again, there's a motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. We can vote.
And that motion passes with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us to the next item on your agenda to consider today, which is ordinance number 6354. That's in relation to Parish Zoning Commission case 23-25-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the east side of Devereaux Road, approximately 796 feet north of Pine Hill Road in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential District to RTH Townhouse Residential District, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Todd Hopkins and second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Todd Hopkins.
I'll just say that I think it fits the area and the board supported it. So just move forward.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Mr. Clark, can you come up?
Might as well stay on the front, though. Alan.
Yes, sir.
I'm actually looking at this, and this is one of the few cases in which the PZC decided a 3-3 tie, recommending on denial. And also looking at the case, the people who talked in opposition, not really nearby, but across North Market. Can you give us a little more insight other than that? I mean, I know it, but I want the rest of the commissioners to understand the situation.
This one was really a coin flip. I think it's part of a nationwide trend that's in the developmental stages where multifamily zoning districts are replaced in single-family districts, and that's duplexes, not apartment complexes, but duplexes are becoming acceptable in the previously single-family district. I think that the citizens it's going to take time before citizens become receptive to this trend. The citizens did not want multifamily development in their neighborhood, and that's why they spoke out very strongly against multifamily. They had one person said they didn't want anything on the property, but the others were just saying they did not want, and we have the same problems in the city. They did not want multifamily uses within a single family district. And that's why the vote was 3-3 and it was defeated.
Okay. So this is a common trend that's going not only this here, but across the United States of putting these type of houses together. They have also built some single family homes already. So this is going to be mostly a mixed development type area. With the 1,500 feet that y'all go out, that also included people from Agers, Cherokee Park, Dixie Highway, Hearn Extension, Martin Luther King, and North Highland. And in this area, you know, the people who stayed on that side, from my understanding, did not have any complaints. The complaints came from further out.
Correct.
On the other side of North Market, because of the ones that are there now that people have let run down over the period of years. I think that we should not hamper development of new properties that will enhance the area that they're trying to do. If you look at the new homes that they built already, it has enlightened that area, because before then it was just woods and mud and runoff. So now you see actually new homes in that area. So this is just an additional piece to this. This also was done in another part of the city, if I'm not mistaken.
It was attempted but denied.
It was denied in another part. Okay. I know they had tried to do it somewhere else. I'm in favor of making sure that, you know, this kind of development goes on. It's not going to be, I guess you call it Section 8 housing or low income housing, but it's going to actually be affordable housing that people can actually go into and get. It's something that District 2 has very little of. So I'm in favor of making sure that this moves forward. So my motion would be to make sure that we adopt this.
Point of clarification, you say you're supporting duplex.
The advancement of this, yes.
Yeah, but you're saying you're supporting is it duplex development? Is
Yes.
what you're saying?
This
Okay.
this development is more like townhouses than they are duplexes. So
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'll echo a lot. I agree with a lot of what has already been said. You know, there's a stigma out there associated with, if it's not single family housing, people don't want it. And I think there has to be, and we've talked about this, we have to continue to educate our community about the type of housing stock. On one hand, we decry the horrible living conditions that people are living in, but then we turn right around and our community will say, well, we don't want this in our backyard. And NIMBYism is what it's called. Not in your backyard, or not in my backyard, is real and it's very alive. But if we don't support and encourage the new construction, we're stuck with the rundown, dilapidation, the swallow that people are forced to live in. And so I applaud. And these are young developers. I believe this Hall Builders. Is this the one Hall Builders?
All we did was the
this is the
engineering.
second generation, not Hall itself, but the second generation.
Yeah, I forgot what they call themselves. Sorry. But they PhD. This is PhD housing. And so very young, innovative, young guys. I put them in the same categories I put Mr. Taylor in. They're out there trying to make Shreveport their home. And since they're going to be here, they want to make Shreveport better. And so I think it's worth us. And I think I was disappointed that they didn't apply to the Housing Trust Fund for any support for this development. But this is the type of development that we need in our city and parish to make sure that we're putting affordable housing, quality, fortified affordable housing within reach of our citizens. So glad to see this on our agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, very much. Thanks. Thanks, Alan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion from Todd Hod. Who was that?
Well, I had
I'm
to
sorry.
amend the motion because the vote is 6-6.
I misspoke. It was a tie vote.
Yeah, it was 2-3. So my amended motion is to advance this ordinance,
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Johnson.
to advance and adopt, yes.
Okay. All right, we can vote.
That motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. And that brings us to, let's see, the next item is ordinances for final passage. That's ordinance 6345 of 2023, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for oil and gas fund to provide air conditioning to Caddo citizens and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Jones and second by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jones. Okay, Commissioner Johnson. If not, we can vote.
Okay, that motion does not carry. It has 5 in support, 6 in opposition, and there was 1 absent. That brings us then, we have no zoning ordinances for introduction by title today. We do have some regular ordinances for introduction by title. And the first is introducing ordinance number 6355 of 2023. That is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the oil and gas fund in the amount of $12,000 to provide an appropriation for the veteran cemetery sign and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6356 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending the budgets of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Building Maintenance Fund, Capital Improvement Fund 1, Capital Improvement Fund 2, Oil and Gas Fund, Public Works Fund, Detention Facilities Fund, and the Capital Outlay Fund for the year 2023 to terminate completed or lapsed capital projects and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. So those are the only 2 items we have for introduction today. And that will bring us now to the next section where you have your work session minutes to be considered for adoption. They are attached.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson. Okay, we can vote. The minutes of September 18th.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent today. That brings us now to resolutions, where you have 2 items before you to consider today. The first item is resolution number 48 of 2023. That is a resolution establishing a Citizens Disaster Response Recovery and Review Committee in Caddo Parish and otherwise providing with respect thereto. That item you will see comes from the Public Safety Committee.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson.
I'd like to englobo and adopt resolution 48 and resolution 49.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to adopt, adopt and englobo and adopt 18.1, 18.2. We can vote.
And Commissioner Jones, it looks like it didn't get yours. There it goes. And that motion carries with 10 in support, 1 in opposition, and 1 absent today. You've got no old business before you, but you do have some new business items to attend to today. The first item is to appoint members to the Industrial Development Board. including the reappointment of the listed members below with terms to expire 8/22/2029.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna make the motion to reappoint all of the members that are on the list.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
And global and adopt the appointments to the Industrial Development Board, adopt the Origins Bank as the fiscal agent, and adopt the authorizing chamber scope, changing of scope for the Fire District 8 ARPA project.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Jackson, I believe, I mean, a substitute motion by Commissioner Jackson and second by Commissioner Atkins, as I remember, to englobo these items 20.1, 20.2, 20.3. We can vote?
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us to your second communiques and committee reports section.
Okay, get on the board for the final communiques. Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank my colleagues for their sound judgment and sticking with our Industrial Development Board members that are here. These people are all hardworking members of the board. They worked hard to understand the issues, and they are well informed and experienced, and I think that was a good call. So thank you all for your support on that.
Okay, Commissioner Gage Watts.
I would just like to say thank you to all of my colleagues and administration and staff who dressed in red today in honor of Sickle Cell Awareness Month. I didn't say that when we talked about the resolutions earlier today. And to remind you that on Saturday is the Sickle Cell Awareness fundraiser that will be held at the Sickle Cell Disease Association of Northwest Louisiana chapter at 3801 Judson. And it is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And to also remember to light it up red on Saturday. So that means don't do no red lights on your cars, but red porch lights, red business lights. And of course, we'll have it lit up red downtown. So thank you for your support today.
All righty then. Anyone else before Mr. Clark? Would you come up a second, please? What's the gentleman's name? Yeah. You know, I had called you on some issues out in the community. It appears that people are bringing businesses into an area and the lots are so small that they are stacking things next to our homes. I've seen snakes crawl out from under them. And if it's a business, I know that there are certain criteria the city has as it relates to business. And also property standards, I believe, has a role in that too. I'll assume that you've got that on your agenda.
We've been working in conjunction with the Department of Property Standards to address the care premise violations that are possibly occurring, the legal home-based businesses that are possibly occurring, and they're just going through the process of notifying persons of the violations and giving them an opportunity to correct the violations.
Well, I know that some of the houses, there's, you know, that they have boats, they'll put the trailers out in front on the lawn out in front, and you invest money to keep your neighborhoods up. And these lawnmower businesses, many times they're putting those trailers out there. And as you know, the situation I sent you, it's a painting business that's stacking scapulars, what are they, scaffolds
Yes, sir.
scaffolds next to that house and a cement mixer. I know there got to be something that we can do about those issues.
We are attempting to address those issues. Unfortunately, some citizens don't receive letters from the city of Shreveport and immediately correct the violations that they have. In a lot of instances, we end up in city court to file charges against them for violating the ordinances. So it's a process that we go through, but we are following through with the process.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. All right. Tim Weaver, it seemed like I saw him a moment ago. We still have that, okay, Madam Administrator, I turned in a tree that was after the storm that is still on Lake Shore and Grove. It's a big tree. They just cut it out of the street, and the tree is still laying almost on the sidewalks. I think it's Lake Shore and Grove. I forget the address.
I'll take care of it.
And-
I'll check into it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Samuel, I'm glad I see you walking back in. Our dog issue again on Alabama and what is that? Stonewall.
Yes, sir. I sent an email to, I had like 3 or 4 dog issues going on. We got 2 of them. We set a trap. We're going to set more traps Monday. We don't set them on Fridays.
Okay.
We're progressively putting attention on all of these areas.
It appears that they are starting to dump these dogs in the neighborhoods.
Something's going on. I know particularly when a female dog is in heat, males will jump fences and come from everywhere. That's why we try to practice that spay neuter stuff. Keep dogs contained. We got a lot of issues.
So they may belong to somebody there.
Right.
They just gotten out.
Right. I think we own a surrender 2 back in the field. They just got out. So it's tough, but we're working it constantly. So.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Administrator. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Samuel, I just want to thank you publicly for all the hard work you've been doing to chase down those wild dog packs in Spring Lake and in Cedar Grove. I appreciate your explanation about the breeding cycle of these dogs and the effect that it has on wildness and their capacity to terrorize our neighborhoods. And I want to just point out to everyone in the public that this really emphasizes the importance of spaying and neutering our pets. And I'm glad we have that law. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Administrator.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, I wanted to also let you all know that there will be, Captain Thomas Murphy has resigned from the port board, and you all now have a vacancy that you will have to reappoint. I think Commission Clerk is waiting on the official letter and the effective date, but did want to notify you of that. We will have legal send you. There are some specific guidelines you have to adhere to in appointing that member of the port board, and we'll have them send that out to you all. So when you're considering your next appointment, but as your representative on the port, I wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Okay. Madam Administrator, you mentioned about the I-49 meeting or something. I didn't, is that passed? Has that passed?
No, sir, it's in October.
October 17th.
I think it's October 17th.
Okay. Could you send me some details on maybe the time and that type of thing?
Is there what? I'm sorry.
Can you send me some information on the
Yes, sir.
time? And
We can email you that information.
all right. Okay. Anything else to come before the commission? If not, the meeting's adjourned.